Yuhu. Alright. Kumusta mga kabonets, mga kabayan? Tuloy-tuloy po tayo dito sa hearing ni Tatay Digong. Tuloy-tuloy lang nating pakinggan. Day 4. No, yung day 3. Yung day 3, palitan ng pahayag. Kang problema yung internet. What happened? Ka-live na ba? I-check lang muna natin kung okay na ba yung live natin. Tumatakbo ba? Mukhang hindi yata. Hello. Connect your encoder.
Ms. Masita for the legal representatives of victims. Ms.
Nakakonect ba or hindi? Yun lang. And magagalit siya. Tayo magagalit to eh. Ba't nawala? Ayaw. Wala eh. Mukhang something wrong. Very poor. Ba't anong nangyari? No? Very poor daw dito. Problema. Very weak dito. Bakit very weak?
Or has the prosecution 2 minutes left, not be satisfied? And finally, with regard to count 3, the prosecution's witnesses themselves concede that there was no formal approval process.
Conceive. Galing ah.
Targets were selected without validation. Officers acted for personal.
Anong nangyari sa net natin? What goes around come around tenfold and never to return.
Acted for personal reasons, and decisions were taken locally.
Yun.
All of this destroys the assertion that there was a mutually agreed common plan. I will elaborate. P1160 claims hierarchical transmission of policy within the police, while simultaneously acknowledging officers' autonomous killings for personal motives. Those propositions cannot comfortably coexist. P3 explains that certain officers acted outside any common plan and for opportunistic reasons. See Incident 38. In Incident 49, P1207 attributes instructions to local officers without evidence of communication or direction from higher authorities. And most significantly, P1207 yeah.
Hello, shout out po sa mga viewers natin dyan. Mahina niya.
P1207 states after a certain death, once again abiding by the redactions, Tokhang operations and killings ceased. This indicates, Madam President, Your Honours, that dependence on specific individuals, not an enduring organisational policy. A system-wide common plan cannot depend on the continued presence of a non-fungible local official. And with this, I conclude.
George Motok, thank you very much, Mr.
Hindi pala marunong
Hoffman.
yung magtagalog yung presiding
All
judge.
the arguments on the merits
Kaya may
have been
translator.
heard. We will now break for 40 minutes up to 10:30. And after we return, we will continue with the closing arguments or submissions, starting with the OTP. Thank you very
Break
much.
sila konti, no?
Court
So, kung
is suspended.
makikita nyo dito mga kabonets, pang-apat na araw nila ito. No, pang-apat na araw nila. Ay, nawala kanina yung nawala kanina yung video. Pero break sila, pero babalik din to. Medyo mahina lang yung net natin, pero ito pinipilit na makabalik. Ito pa yung sinasabi ko mga kabonets na landscape, no? Pag sa umaga kasi, no? Pag sa umaga, portrait po yung natin. So anyway, binabati ko muna yung mga bago nating mga subscriber and yung mga ating moderator. No, so this is the day 4 of the proceeding of Tatay Digong in Yahig. So ngayon, nagkaroon lang ng konting break at magre-resume ulit after ng break. Okay. Ayun, ano pa yung mga ibang update? Yung sinasabi ni Attorney Baligod kaninang umaga at ng mga nakaraan, ayun, bingag, thanks po sa pa-jacket. Yung maraming salamat po, di ba, no skip ads, Tamas and Harang Dan. Ayan, bingang, shout out sa'yo. Okay, salamat din po sa pagbisita. Keep safe. Good evening sa'yo and God bless you. Nag-break lang po yung ICC day 4. Pero saglit lang ito, magsisimula na. I-forward natin para doon sa pagbabasa. Ito si Kufman. Pakinggan natin si Kufman. Ito si Kufman, ito yung attorney ni Tatay Digong. Okay. Let's What's mm.
more than it is proof of unlawful intent. The prosecution itself acknowledges the existence of formal operational frameworks, including police circulars and structured
Hig ito.
campaigns. Within those structures, individuals could be designated high value for purposes of operational attention. Many HVT operations, in fact, resulted in arrest or surrender, albeit some resulted in fatal encounters. For this reason, each alleged HVD incident must be scrutinized on its own evidentiary foundation. When the incidents falling under count 2 are examined individually, the pattern we submit is similar to those incidents falling under count 1. Namely, heavy reliance on insider testimony, wishful and selective reading of police reports, and dubious and tenuous linkage to Rodrigo Duterte. Now, the operations cited under count 2 were conducted within the framework of the lawful war on drugs, and as such, operational contexts are consistent with planned law enforcement activity, including buy-bust operations and coordinated arrests, rather than preordained killings. The
Shout out
evidence for count
sa
2 incidents
shout out
consistently
sa mga viewers
shows
natin
that the
for
deaths occurred during armed confrontations in which force was used in response to an imminent threat, in accordance with the rules of engagement repeatedly articulated by President Duterte, namely that lethal force was permissible only where life was in danger.
shout out sa 5 viewers.
Across the count 2 incidents, there exist contemporaneous documents, whether it be arrest warrants, operational records, or firearms recovery reports, all of which reflect legitimate police operations that escalated into exchanges of gunfire. The general record does not substantiate a theory of wanton execution.
Yun.
Yet the prosecution seeks to rely, once again, on the testimony of criminals spilling their hearts with a tacit understanding that they will never be prosecuted. In 4 of the 5 incidents, contemporaneous reports document the recovery of firearms at the scene, indicating that the weapons were used against police and prompting a responsive use of force. In incidents 12, 13, and 14, the operations were authorized by judicially issued search warrants. We have diagrams on the screen being shown. I'm not going to stop. They will be presented throughout my presentation continuously, all in an attempt to save time. Those circumstances are squarely within operational legality and fundamentally incompatible with a pre-planned murder. Incident 14 is particularly instructive. 4 individuals were arrested alive. To us, that demonstrates selective and not indiscriminate use.
Mm. Ba't nawala yung ano? Mahina yung net ba? Ay, grabing hina naman ng net. Paano mag-i-stay yung mga... Pasensya po, mga... konting pasensya po. Ba't anong nangyari sa... mag-reboot yata ako
Of force.
Ito
In
na.
incidents 10, 13, and 14, gunpowder residue was detected on the victim's hands. At a minimum, that forensic finding is consistent with an exchange of gunfire and not consistent with a straightforward execution narrative. And the prosecution and the victims' representatives simply can't have their cake and eat it. They can't say in one breath that drugs and guns were planted on victims and therefore dispute crime scene evidence, while at the same time complaining about the lack of crime scene evidence. Yet the prosecution virtually disregards these objective and forensic indicators in favor of narrow and often uncorroborated insider testimony. This is best illustrated in Incident 10, which rests almost entirely on P1160's assertion that a firearm was planted at the scene of the crime, and the official report fabricated. Yet P1160 expressly accepts that he did not witness the planting of the firearm and merely assumes that it must have happened, before conceding that the firearm may already have been present. Once again, we are in the realm of inadmissible conjecture. We know that an investigation followed that incident. The opening of an inquiry is not consistent with the intention to conceal wrongdoing. Beyond that, as I've just mentioned, the record reflects detection of gunpowder residue on victims' hands in this particular incident, a forensic indicator consistent with an exchange of gunfire and inconsistent with the witness's testimony, which is notably, once again, uncorroborated. Incident 11. This is the sole incident in count 2 where direct linkage to Mr. Duterte is advanced. And this linkage rests entirely on voice recognition by an individual who claims to have overheard a telephone conversation and recognized the president's voice while being physically moved from one location to another. The alleged recipient of the telephone call himself was never interviewed, and another person present, on whom the prosecution relies for corroboration, did not hear the conversation. After all, would it not have been an item of interest to all those present in that specific location that the President of the Republic himself had condescended to discuss matters of such a criminal nature by way of telephone? So the ridiculous assertion stands solely on